Hey guys, how have you been? I hope you guys are doing well, and I hope you guys remember what we have been discussing in the last couple of classes. We have been talking about types of communication, and we learned a lot of categorization on the basis of form and content. Today, we are going to learn another category or another categorization of the communication process. So far, we have learned verbal, non-verbal, formal, informal. All this we have learned. Today, we are going to compare and contrast between oral and written communication. So I think we need not define these as such, because we already know oral means the spoken word, that what I am communicating to you is through the spoken word. So this is oral communication. And if I had written a letter to you or an email to you or taken a printout of something that I have to say and given to you, that becomes written communication. So oral communication and written communication are the next category of communication, next categorization of communication that we are learning today. So how we are learning it is through differentiating between the two. So what actually are the differences between the two? First of all, you use the spoken word here and the written letter here. So what are the prerequisites of both these communications? Both these forms of communications. The written form of communication obviously demands literacy. That is, if you do not know how to read and write a language, you cannot be a participant in written communication. But since spoken language is something that we imbibe from the society from our birth, this is possible without proper literacy also. So that is one significant difference there, the difference between literacy. Written communication may not be possible without being literate in the language. Also, there is another possibility that written communication can be documented, but oral communication is most of the time not documented. Now imagine that I'm speaking to somebody and I tell somebody something, I promise somebody something, and I forget that I had made that promise. Next time that person comes, I can say that no, I haven't promised anything as such. But if it is a contract that we have signed between that individual and me, and it is written there and I have signed there, then it becomes an official record of what I had communicated to that person. So if ever there is some kind of dispute or some kind of legal intervention to be done, this becomes a solid evidence or proof or a record of that communication which had taken place. So this is another point. First we discussed about the possibility of literacy. Now we are discussing about the possibility of there being an official record of communication having been taken place. And also oral communication is most of the time faster. Now, in order to read and comprehend something, there is a minimal time that people take. But when we are communicating between two people, the communication is comparatively faster. But along with the being faster, there are many limitations that oral communication has also. That is, most of the time there is a possibility of misinterpretation because of the tone or the facial expressions or even the kind of words that people use. There is a possibility of miscommunication, because when I utter a word, it's not necessary that the other person understands that word in the same sense that I intended it to be. So there is a possibility of miscommunication in oral communication. It is comparatively less when it comes to written communication, because we actually invest a lot of thought into writing. When we are writing something, we select proper words, we take a bit of time. So the possibility of miscommunication is comparatively less in the case of written communication. Okay, and also there is the advantage of facial expressions in oral communication, and my body language. All this can be used in oral communication, which cannot be done in the case of written communication. And something else that I would like to, most of the time for official purposes, written communication is preferred, because for legal references, for future references and all, it can be recorded. And immediate feedback, this is another very significant point. When I'm talking to somebody orally, there is immediate feedback possible. If at all that person has some kind of disagreement with what I'm saying, they can communicate it effectively at that point itself. But when it comes to written communication, they will have to read and comprehend, take some time to comprehend that and think of a response and write it back and make it reach the other person. So the immediate feedback possibility is not there. So all these are advantages and disadvantages in some ways, but I think both of these are necessary, because for official purposes and for the purpose of recording, written communication is very essential. As for personal communication exchange, oral communication is very essential. So I hope the distinctions between these two are quite clear to you. So another category is oral and written communication, literacy and immediate feedback, and the advantage of gestures and body language, and the advantage of being recordable or reproducible later on, that it can be used for legal purposes and all these things keep in mind when you think about oral and written communication. I hope this category of categorization of communication is clear to you, and I hope that you have a great day, and I hope that you guys keep safe from the pandemic and all the problems that are surrounding you. So from the next class onwards, we'll begin with another fresh topic. We are for the time being concluding with this topic, which is types of communication. I hope all these ideas that we discussed were in some way useful to you. If at all you have any suggestions or questions to ask, you can post in the Google Classroom comments. Thank you very much, guys. Stay safe and take all the necessary precautions. Stay safe. Thank you.